it's that time of year, and it's all about recruiting and making sure that we get out and get into the homes and get into the schools and make sure we get the right picks and pick the right recruits.
No, we'll get into recruiting a little bit, but classes started this week, and you were able to talk to your team. What was your message to the team?
Well, what I had, Kevin, I had a team meeting, and it was just more about last season, how just very unhappy I was. But the team understands that because the standard here would never be 7 losses. And what they had to understand, the trademark of this program has always been pride and tradition. I mean, that's a trademark. Mm-hmm. And if we can't go out and compete and go play just for pride more than anything else, but you know what? It's all about going and go be the best. And we didn't do that. And it's a lot of games. It's like we didn't show up. I think back last season and, how you sit around. And that's probably why I can't ever sleep at night because, you kind of go replay some of those games. And it's just that you get very upset just thinking about it. And I just get mad at myself because you're the head coach and things should be done differently. And I look at our assistant coaches and I told them, we had a meeting, I said, guys, we didn't coach our best. And we allow that. And that's, if we don't go out and be our best, then don't expect it from the players.
Right.
And that's what happened. And we didn't get it. And we didn't do the job.
Did you feel like the guys accepted that message?
Oh, they did. And what's really tough is that you have a group of seniors and then they move on. And now all of a sudden that junior class become your senior class and they just move forward to it. Because the way I have it set up is that, I always want the seniors in front of me, and then I want the juniors right behind them, the sophomores and the freshmen in the back. And I just tell the freshmen, at some point you're going to become a senior, so you're going to move up, and those years happen so quickly. But the message was so clear that the players, they do understand that, because a reason why a lot of them came here is to go compete for a championship.
Right.
And I tell them at all the time, if that's your goal, and if we do not reach that goal, why not? Why did that not happen? Mm-hmm. And I said this year we weren't even close. But even I said that, not to even look back. And I said, just look back over the career. I said, some of you guys, you're coming into your senior year. Really, what have you done? Yeah. And we haven't done anything.
Yeah. And you think about this program, too, so the other guys that are looking at that had 4-year spans that were unbelievable at UT. So these guys are trying to get to that next level. What are the guys doing to make sure they're ready for spring ball?
Well, what we did is we started off season. So they started classes. So because academically, it's all about academics. And so they've started their classes. So what we do is just make sure that we get our workouts in, and it's all depending upon when you have classes. So now they started the off season. And this is really when you start building your football team and guys start working out and around Coach Moore. And they're doing the lifting and doing the running, but they're just building their bodies. And now it's about the mental toughness. And physically you're reshaping their body, but also mentally you're pushing them through some things.
What's the most important thing for you as the head coach that you want to get accomplished this spring?
Well, you know what? I just want to build a football team, and that's what we haven't done. And I don't think that really so many guys are just individuals, and you got to pull it together as a team. And guys have to understand when you win as a team, good things happen for you. But when you try to be an individual, then that's when things doesn't happen because now it's all about you. And we can never be about ourselves. It's all about the team and just making sure that we build a team. And when we come together as a team, then when things do go bad, can we overcome that adversity? And then when you do win games, then you win as a football team. And then the good things will follow and good things will happen for you.
And you've been recruiting your tail off. Your coaching staff has been really working hard. Less than 2 weeks until signing day. What are these final days going to be like for you recruiting?
Well, it's really, I try to get in every young man's home and get a chance to either in the home or school and visit with the family and just convince the ones that are not coming, you try to convince them to come. And the ones that are already coming, you just want to make sure that everything's going good, that, you get a chance to meet some of the high school coaches where these young men have played at. But these next 2 weeks, we're sitting there with probably, 4 or 5 scholarships. We're still dealing with probably 12 to 15 guys. So we just want to make sure that the ones that we do pick or just the needs that we have at just different positions. Like, you know, you may be looking for a running back, or you may be looking for another lineman. But it also, you're gonna take a really good football player to whatever position it is. You just got to make sure that when you take him, he can go play, and he is a really good player.
Right. You mentioned maybe 10 to 15 guys that are still maybe up in the air, and it seems like recruiting has kind of shifted that way, where not as many guys are as committed, and it really goes down to the last day. A little different than your predecessor. Why?
Well, I just, you know, you look at young men now, and a commitment is nothing but a reservation. So it's like, when they make a commitment, they always say this: signing day is when. So let's get it to signing day.
And not one of those reservations at a nice restaurant where if you don't show, they're still going to bill you, right?
That's right. No, that reservation, they may leave you out there by yourself. So it's all about, you know, what we're trying to do is just make sure that this next set of guys are guys that can, not necessarily program changers, but guys are going to be really important in the program and where they're going to fall. Because what you're looking at, even within the state, you know, there's some really good players, and they're really, really good players. They're just still trying to make that decision. So we want to make sure that we are in that final decision when it comes down to it.
What's the hardest part about recruiting for you and your staff?
Really, you know what, Kevin, you really have to enjoy it. I don't know if there's anything hard, because it comes down to just building relationships, and you get a chance to meet so many young men from different walks of life, and you tell them all the time it doesn't matter where you come from, but it's what you're trying to get to. And I tell them all the time what our mission is. It's very simple here. I want to see you graduate. I want to see us go win football games, and I want to make sure that when I turn you back to your parents, that you're a better person than you were when you came into it. Just watch him mature, watch him grow up, and just watch him become an outstanding young man. But you got to really like it, and it's something you have to do over and over each and every day. And don't ever take anything for granted, because a lot of times, you know, you can have a young man, he can be committed to you, and you kind of may for a week or so go and not even say nothing to him. No, you can't now. Right. Because that day that you're not talking to him, someone else is going to have that conversation. Yeah. And then he's going to act like he's not feeling the love. You know, Coach, you know, I'm not feeling the love. Listen, I'm not going anywhere, buddy. I'm here. Just call me. We will talk. But you just have to make sure that you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, and just make sure it's, like I said, it's over and over each and every day.
Well, that's kind of like, you know, I guess it'd be the maitre d' calling saying, hey, you made reservations, you're still coming to dinner, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're still coming, right? You know we got steak.
Yeah, you can say you got steak, but he's going to say, well, somebody else got that steak too.
They got lobster too, right?
They have lobster with that steak. So it is. But it's, you know, the commitments now, it's just so tough. But you have some young men who stick to them. And then you have some that, you know, they just want to make a reservation, but then they will say,
and
well,
they're 17-year-old kids.
Oh, they're 17,
right.
18, and that decision's hard. And, you know, you have the parents that's in there, but, you know, the young man's like, well, Coach, I'm committed, but can I go visit? You know, and so, okay, now, if you're taking another visit, then you're looking. So why do you need to go visit? Well, Coach, and it's so true. This statement is so true. A lot of them don't have an opportunity to take, you know, 5 official visits, get on a plane and fly at all these different places. Right. You know, so this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing for them.
Live it up.
And just live it up. And I tell them, I said, listen, if you are solid to me, you go visit wherever you want. I mean, just go ahead. Because you know what happens, Kevin? If you sit there and argue with him, he's going to go anyway. Right. So now when he goes, then what are you going to do? Because you really want him. Exactly. So I just say, listen, go ahead and take your visits. And when it's all out of your system, then tell me what you want to do.
I think about everywhere you've been, just following your career at Notre Dame, Florida, South Carolina, everywhere. You've been a very good recruiter. Obviously, you're known as a great defensive mind. But I'm curious, how does Texas compare to some of the other stops? How easy of a sell is this recruiting-wise?
Oh, it's, you know what it is, Kevin, I don't know if it's so much as easy, is it very easy, but everybody's recruiting now. And so you have to still, though, don't think because you're the University of Texas, you're going to walk into a school and say, hey, we're here, knock on the door, we're here, let's go. Because you have to convince a young man, why is Texas the best fit for me? Why is it the best place for me? You know, wherever you are. Because what it is as long as you're telling them that, there's someone else telling him. Yeah. I mean, he's still got 4 of the schools that's standing there in line, and they're waiting for him. They want to jump on board. So this is why you should come here. This is why you should come here. But you can never, ever take anything for granted. So when you go in to recruit, just make sure, hey, guys, we got to sell who we are. We have to be who we are. Because at the end of the day, he's still looking around, and he's trying to make sure, hey, is this really the right place for me? Well, Coach, I'd like to go take a visit to such and such just to make sure. So it's all about making sure that at the University of Texas, we have everything in place. We have what you need. But knowing this, there's someone else out there sending that same message.
Yeah. Well, a guy who's done a really good job recruiting in his career, you just hired Jay Norvell as a new wide receiver coach. I think about some of the guys, Ryan Broyles, you go on and on, that he not only brought in and recruited, but developed. Why'd you hire Jay?
Well, you look at it, and whenever you talk about just hiring a coach, it's all, and everybody always look at who he's coached, where he's been, but I just look at it as a person. And he's an outstanding, not only a coach, but an outstanding person with a great family. And I just know this, that his transition here is going to be smooth because he's been in this conference and he knows. When you're going against a competitor and a big rival, you think about this Oklahoma that we getting this coach from, and he's done it, and they've had a lot of success. So he knows this conference, he knows who we're recruiting, has recruited the state of Texas, but he see it, and he's seen it from afar, and now he's a part of it.
Well, he also was with Marvin Harrison at Indianapolis. I mean, he really has a nice resume, pro and college. I'm curious, whenever you're hiring a coach like that, how much do you weigh recruiting versus on the field, maybe technical stuff?
You know what, Kevin, I sat down with the young man because really, it's like I tell a football player, I say, listen, I know you can play football, so I know you can coach because you wouldn't have had the stops that you had, like you said.
Right.
I mean, you've been in Indianapolis, you're part of a Super Bowl, you've been to Oklahoma, look at the championships you've been a part of.
Yeah, his resume speaks for itself. Yeah.
So now it's all about just you sitting down and just making sure you're comfortable with who you're going to hire. And then it's also about, is he the right fit? Is he going to be the right fit for our program? Can he get around our young man, and can he develop these young men? And can he coach these young men? And then will he have a positive effect on their life? But that's what you're looking for. You're looking for, it's all about character building. A lot of times people's like, well, what is he going to bring to the table? He'll bring to the table because the coaching aspect is good. Now, what is he going to bring to the table as a person, on how well he communicate with his players, on how well the players respect him? And now you get instant credibility with Jay coming into the fold, because a lot of these players in our program now know who he is because he's recruited them. And then the guys that we've been recruiting against, now they know right away. I had a young man, when I hired Jay, he called me and said, oh, Coach, that was my best recruiter. Man, I'm so glad he's on board. How did you get that done? I said, he decided to come. That's what it was.
Yeah, his words really said a lot. I think he had a lot of opportunities to go places, and he looked at it, and just reading what he said, he really bought in to your message.
Well, I tell you what happened. Whatever happened to him at Oklahoma, I called Coach Stoops, and we had a great conversation.
And you guys have a good relationship.
We have a great relationship. Yeah. So I talked to Bob, and Bob said to me, he said, listen, Charlie, he's got about 2 or 3 other interviews. If you want him, you better go right now. You better call him. And he said, I do whatever I can to help you, but he said, you need to call him right away. And so when I made a call to him, he said, well, Coach, I do have this other opportunity. I like to look at it. I was trying to convince him, hey, this is the right place for you. This is the right fit. But we had numerous conversations, and then finally he came on board with us. But you know what? I just knew at the time we need Jay Norvell in our program. And we need someone special like that. Because once you get around him and get to know who he really is, then you can see why he's had the success that he's had.
Yeah, I've heard that. Heard it's kind of infectious. You have 6 early enrollees for the spring. What's the benefit for these guys getting started early?
Well, a lot of times they get a chance to get right within the team, so they're there. And then what happens, they go through, all through the lifting, through the winter conditioning, and then also they have a chance to get in class. So once they get in class, they're knowing now on campus where I need to go, where I need to head. But more than anything, it's just that they come in January instead of August, so now they have a chance to go through spring. They go through winter conditioning, then spring practice.
Right.
So they kind of know what's going on, which is really good for them.
4 of those 6 are offensive linemen. That's obviously a spot you really want to work on. What's a competition going to be like with that group?
Oh, it'll be very competitive. I mean, you look at linemen last year. You know, we had our stumbles there, but now you get that group back. You probably get about 7 or 8 of them back, and now you get to add these 4 into it. So you'll see the battle there, and it'll be great competition. But it gives us a chance to really build an area that was a big need for us. Now we can build that area and add some depth there. And now you get the guys in the spring practice, and they go through spring ball, and it's going to be very competitive.
Yeah.
Because now you get some more linemen in there and guys that want to compete and want to go be the best.
And that's what you want. You've talked about that. You need that competition because it's only going to make guys better.
And that's the only way it can happen. When you're sitting there and you go through a season with 6 linemen, then there's no competition.
Right.
So, you know, if something goes bad, you know, they're going to look at you, well, there's nothing else you can do.
And you can't afford to get them hurt.
No, you can't get them hurt, and you can't put nobody else in there.
Right.
So you just got to play the hand that you've been dealt. But now with us getting these mid-semester guys in, it's going to really help us.
You know, I was able to talk to an NFL draft guy on Tuesday. He said that Jordan Hicks is turning heads. His agility, being able to cover, both Jordan and Quandre are going to be in the Senior Bowl. What makes those 2 guys special?
You know, when you talk about, there's 2 guys that have been a part of this program, and they provide unbelievable leadership ability. But I always say this: when you go to the Senior Bowl, and then I told Jordan and I told Diggs, I said that just make sure you just go out and compete. And when there are questions asked, just answer the question, but speak in their language. Because a lot of times when a coach asks you a question, he just wants to see how you're going to give it back to him in the language you're going to speak. But those are 2 guys that came up to the office, got around Coach Bedford, got around Coach BJ. Hey, just talk about, you know, what we're going to be doing drill-wise, you know, just how, just on defense, what we're going to be playing. But really, they didn't know. But it's just, you look at 2 guys that have unbelievable athletic ability. You know, you look at the linebacker position with Jordan, you can see it's all about vision at that position.
Yeah.
And he has unbelievable vision. So now you're able to read and react to a run or a pass. And he's athletic enough where he can get in the drops and get in underneath routes. But then also he can put his foot in the ground on a run play and get downhill and go knock a back or knock a defender back. So he has that ability. And then you look outside with Diggs, a little guy that plays big. And I always say that about him. He plays within himself. A lot of guys, when they're little, they don't play within themselves because you know what they're trying to be somebody they're not, and they're trying. Whereas with him, he knows who he is, and he plays within himself. And the guy can really, you know, he can break on the ball very well, can body up a receiver, and knowing this, a lot of times when you're small, you really have to body them up and make sure they go up over you to go get the football.
Right.
But I'm so happy to see the success that they're having right now in the Senior Bowl, and it's just going to help them, and then it will enable them to just move up the draft board.
Charlie, I got my producer who's like, look, I know you like talking college football with Charlie Strong, but he has to go and we have to wrap. So I could do this all day. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.